Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Oh, my stars and garters. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Wait, let me adjust my V-neck here. Got to have the V-neck. Got to have it in place because I have this gigantic neck. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. I am Gonzo. I am Big Daddy Gonzo, your host extraordinaire. Well, I don't know about extraordinaire, but host enough. And seated across from me, matriculating on his phone from, I don't know, north to south. Is that the direction you're going?
I think it's east-west.
Look at you. You move. You were perfectly placed before in your shot, and then you suddenly, that's where your head should be. So move your butt over there to center yourself.
Here I am. Hey.
I can't take this kid no
more.
Am I
there?
I swear to God.
Am I there?
And your gigantic head is out of the frame.
What am I supposed to do?
I framed you before, and now you messed it all up again
right,
for
I'll
me
slouch.
anyway.
I don't mind slouching.
I can't take this guy nowhere. I really can't.
I'll just look cool.
But welcome to the show. Now you're going to have to pay attention to our pre-show rants because
we laughed a lot.
We cut a killer live pre-show, and I don't know. That's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Just go watch that on Facebook.
Yeah, we hit it there.
Yeah, it's a lot to get to. I mean, like the news is like coming in hot. Coming in hot and fast. And our top stories, we can just get right to them. I mean, coming in late yesterday in the PGA, Jon Rahm, who shot a blistering 4-under third round. He finished off the second round in the morning and then shot a 4-under third, and he leads by, 5 strokes?
He was 3 under on one hole.
Right.
In the same day.
Right.
He had a hole in one, and then he went
On
birdie the next
fire.
one. Yeah. And now he's got COVID.
And at the end of his round, okay, while he was finishing his round, they were testing him, and then they did the confirmation test, the second test to confirm, and they let him finish the round, and then they said, "Oh, by the way, you got to drop out. Your second test came back, confirmed that you have COVID. You have to isolate." And the reaction was kind of priceless.
He handled it well.
He handled it well. Looked like somebody punched him in the nuts.
He was very upset at the moment, but then afterwards he made a statement saying that he understands the importance of the matter. I mean, again, just, I don't know if you want to call it coach speak. He's not a coach, but it's the right thing. And he got out in front of it, and he didn't blame anybody for what happened. He just took it, and he said, we're judged upon how we respond. And that's what he said, and that's
COVID
fine.
makes you play golf very well.
Here's what I would have done. I would have wrapped him in plastic and let him get back out there. Like hole in the mouth, hole in the eyes. Dude's up by 6 shots.
Right.
He just has to go out there and just get through the round in order to make it. It's golf. They're outside. They don't even touch each other, ever. They touched him more in that explanation of him having COVID than he had been touched probably leading up to the entire round, other than a few handshakes. Let him play.
Let him play.
Oh, this
his
COVID.
Caddy, let him play solo. Him and his caddy. Have his caddy wear a mask. Have everybody around him wear a mask.
If you watched the officials talk to him, and when they gave him the news, obviously he was upset. He wasn't wearing. John wasn't wearing. The official that was talking to him was like this, and his mask was like this.
Go ahead, kiss him.
It's like, what are we doing here? It's. I'm over this, and a lot of people should be over this as well, to the level I am, because then we'd all be living our lives in normality.
All right. Take it easy. We all know that we all know that you want COVID to be over, and you're tired of this crap, and you think everybody's a puss for
not everybody
for being so cautious. But COVID doesn't care. I mean, let's face it. It's still we are on the downside and coming out of the tunnel for this pandemic. But I have mixed feelings because I kind of relate to what you say. Is that let them play? Let them play. Let him play. Let him finish. You've already exposed everybody who was talking to him through contact tracing throughout that final round. Now that you have a positive test, you need to take everybody, including the golfers that he was playing with in his group, all their caddies, all the officials, anybody who came within 6 feet of him, They have to isolate as well. It's not just him.
But the
It's
thing
not
is,
just him.
is the argument now people will say, well, now you got to get him out of there because, he could create an issue where he gets everybody else sick. Well, how did he get sick? How come he gets the responsibility of maybe getting everybody else sick? How come the guy before him that got him sick didn't have that responsibility? And if they did, what were they going to do? Lock him down and the 300 people prior to him he touched?
Well,
Stop it. It's over.
There's also a rumor that he hid his contact with somebody who was infected. This has layers.
Contact tracing is another joke.
Contact tracing, it's not a joke.
It's another joke.
It is not a joke.
You have no idea how to be able to touch and reach out to all these. You'd have to put the world in a bubble.
First of all, the reason why this got so bad is because whatever theory you believe about how the disease got out there, it was a perfect storm because people are filthy animals. They don't wash their hands. They are not careful about the things that they touch. They're not careful about touching their faces after they touch something. Have you seen the new Pepsi commercial?
Yes.
The new Pepsi commercial where everybody's hugging. And
I like how people have all these analysis about all of a sudden this is how we've been so bad, so bad, so bad.
We are.
But we've always been that way. It's like we didn't wake up, became dirty, filthy scum, and then got sick. That's not what happened.
No,
I'm always dirty.
We have always been dirty, filthy scum.
And then we got COVID. They're totally two different things.
It was a perfect storm.
It's two different things. It's not one has nothing to do with the other. Let's get this.
Are you cranky pated? Do you need more coffee?
Let's talk about Blake Griffin. Oh, because he's so good.
Let's segue to the National Basketball Association playoffs, which are in the second round now. We have advanced to the second round. We have advanced past the play-in tournament that we. According to the King, somebody should get fired for that stupid idea.
Yes.
And now,
who's the King, by the way?
Now LeBron.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And now the King is home. Yeah.
But he wasn't worried about it because if you listen to his press conference after the game,
if I made $48 million a year, I wouldn't worry about anything.
See, here this was what we had talked about when LeBron went to L.A. Okay, he didn't go to L.A. to just play basketball. He went to L.A. because LeBron is a brand, and the brand gets stronger in L.A., okay? Perfect situation for LeBron James.
No doubt.
But the reality of it is now let's look at basketball because that's what we do, and this is what we're talking about now is actual basketball, not about his upcoming movie, which he did mention 10 minutes after the loss.
Oh, yeah.
He was already into Space Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't think 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, LeBron would have been worried about what he was doing or currently involved with outside of just basketball. So to me, that's the tell. That's the tell that says, listen, he's still a great basketball player, okay, currently now. Forget about what he's done in prior, but he's a great basketball player now. They're on a great team if Anthony Davis is healthy.
Oh, yeah.
They know that they have to go out and they have to get a max player because they have to compensate for the inability for Anthony Davis to stay healthy and for the decline, the natural and just eventual decline of LeBron James.
They got to go get 25 points a night.
That's not a knock on LeBron James. You can't knock reality. It's not his fault that he's now 36 and he's played the most minutes in the history of the league at such an incredible level.
Yep.
So we'll get to one of the questions later on when we get into the Mazz Hysteria. But again, just a quick synopsis. The Lakers know who they are, but people need to realize who they are and understand that they need to get to be a better basketball team to be in the mix next year. It can't be what they look like now. They have to go get either a Bradley Beal, if he's available and wants to come to L.A. Steph Curry's been thrown out there in the mix in terms of names that are available out there. Again, his contract expires next year.
All right. Wait. First of all, you want to go into the speculation. You want to go into the crazy speculation. First of all, Steph Curry ain't going nowhere. Steph Curry is Oakland, California. He is the Bay Area. He is the basketball king of San Francisco and Oakland and San Jose. He may even be the king of Sacramento, even though they got their own basketball team.
Would he lose fans if he went to L.A.?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
But he's not. He's never going to leave. No, he's never going to leave the Bay Area. He is never going to leave Golden State. He is going to retire a Golden State Warrior. Let's just figure that right out. But you want to talk about wild speculation? Of course, my Miami Heat took a grand doo-doo in the first round. And we'll get the bag in on the Milwaukee Bucks, who talked a whole lot of smack on their way out of town after whooping their ass, sweeping them out. But Pat Riley is now angry, spiteful. We all know what happens when angry, spiteful Pat Riley comes around. We all know what happens. Last time that happened, somebody took their talents to South Beach.
Signed a big 3.
Yeah. And it happened, and everybody's like, no, they have salary cap, the luxury tax issues. Not only did they bring in the big 3, put together a big 3, but they went around and they signed a whole bunch of old veterans that could still ball for 20 minutes a game. Signed a whole bunch of old veterans to put around them at a discount because those guys wanted to do what they wanted to get rings. Okay, Riley knows.
Even the guy that they brought in that big 3, Chris Bosh,
Yeah.
who was a 23 and 12 guy every
Machine.
night, was the third option on that team.
Yep.
And he took it because he knew that this is what you do in order to win a championship.
Yep.
So you allow that. You allow Riley's process to take. Yeah. Listen, 100%.
So thank you, Giannis Antetokounmpo, for talking so much trash on the way back to Milwaukee. Okay. Which I think it's funny that anybody will talk that much trash after leaving the city of Miami and going back to Milwaukee, of all places.
They got good cheese.
That's right, you cheeseheads. I'm talking smack about Milwaukee. Sausages. But thank you, because you lit a fire under that black Irish gangster that is the president of operations for the Miami Heat.
Yeah,
and it is going to be glorious.
You got to have a little faith in Pat Riley. But I will say this, though. The East, to me, this is just another indictment on the strength of the two conferences. Because for years, it was the West were so dominant, and then you had all these players that were moving to the East. The Nets loaded up, and obviously the Heat were, I thought, would be more competitive. Milwaukee, Toronto, whatever. But you're going to have a hobbled Nets who have not played together at all, and now they're potentially minus James Harden. Pretty much just walk through, get to the finals.
Didn't seem to be a problem yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, but see, this is where the problem is going to be, though, for the Nets. And again, it's clear that when you don't play any kind of defense, which the Nets clearly don't, they're in trouble. They gave up.
So ugly at times, dude.
That game started yesterday. The Nets gave up 21 points in the paint. In the first quarter.
It was all-star game defense.
Pretty much. So that's not going to fly in the West.
You got them.
Okay, whoever comes out of the West, again, now it looks like the Clippers are back in control in that series.
They'll drop $140 on you.
If the Clippers, if it's Utah, if it's whoever, listen, those between Kyrie Irving's 25, 8, and 8 every night, count it, and Kevin Durant, being the best player on the court, they need a bench. They're going to need Joe Harris to put in 20, every other night. They're going to need – now, Blake Griffin last night gave them 14 points and 14 rebounds.
You still hate Blake Griffin, don't you?
I promise you this, okay?
Griffin balled out last night.
He went for, I think it was 15 and 14, 14, 15. Okay, whatever.
He
will not have that point total or that rebound total combined over the next 2 games.
Big man was bringing the ball up and distributing.
He won't even be a factor.
He was a point forward.
So we'll see how that plays out. It's just, how much can Giannis do? You're waiting for guys like Middleton. They went and got Drew Holiday. You thought that
Drew Holiday, who looked lost at times in the playoffs. And this is not the same Drew Holiday who scored at will against the Miami Heat. Because he used his speed, his quickness, and it didn't matter who the Heat put on him. He's zipping all over the place.
Yeah.
And Middleton had a great series too. And of course, Antetokounmpo was Antetokounmpo. But once he got in against a team that honestly, New Jersey is a little longer as far as their defense, their reach, their radius. While they may not play great defense, they're still a little longer, and they seem to have figured out the formula that if you put Joe Harris or one of the other grinders off the bench, you put him in the guy's face, or you put Kevin Durant on him, he gets a little discombobulated.
Yeah, Durant can defend still a little bit when he wants to. I think the series is going to be very competitive. That was a competitive game, but and again, only competitive because the Nets played zero defense. So you're going to have situations where guys for Milwaukee are going to get hot. Middleton's going to have a game where he's going to score 30. They'll win that game.
Yesterday they ran him out of the gym.
Well, again, because they just got done sweeping the Heat. So maybe there were some psychological things there. Listen, it's one game. We're not going to overreact. And again, I can't overstate this, how bad the Nets defense is. Milwaukee will shoot the lights out at some point, whether they go back home and do it, whether they do it in Brooklyn. It's not going to matter.
Right, but
they're going to score enough points to win a game or two in this series.
Right.
And my guess is
I'm
it probably
still seeing New Jersey in 5.
I'm going to say 6.
Okay.
I'm going to say 6.
Well, now, okay, so we think that New Jersey will get by Milwaukee even without James Harden.
Yes.
Will Philadelphia get by Atlanta without Joel Embiid?
I don't think so.
Will Trae Young get hot?
He's been hot. He's arrived.
He
was already there, but you saw. Now again, remember the Knicks were like number 2 defensive rating in all of the NBA this year.
Oh yeah.
A lot of that is on the way they play, the hustle, the style they play. They never give up.
Derrick Rose still ain't no joke,
but Trae Young, he's pretty good, and he pretty much. I'm not gonna say he scored at will, but he took over times in that series where you knew he was the best guy on the floor.
Yeah, the only guy that could D up on him was Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons is an average defender.
Now on Philly, they've been playing pretty good defense too, but everything's been defense, running through Embiid. Mm-hmm. And when you look at scoring options, the only way Philly wins this series is if their bench goes nuts. They're going to need guys like Tybalt and Tyrone Maxey and all these other guys, Korkmaz, to just. Each of those guys,
54-year-old Tyrone Maxey.
Each of these guys is going to have a night in order for them to win, and that's how important Embiid is.
So it's going to be a little tougher there. You said
very hard, and to me, it's a 50-50 because it's going to come down to obviously turnovers and other
and whether
factors.
Embiid recovers in 2 or 3 days.
Well, if Embiid comes back and plays, then it's definitely 76ers. But listen, Trae Young, Clint Capella, Bogdanovich, those guys are good. There's a reason why.
There's no doubt.
There's a reason why they're playing the way they are. So, but
even
again,
Collins
he's been playing well too. Young, and he's playing. Listen, they're well coached. They're a good basketball team. They exposed the Knicks tremendously.
They've got a smart owner. Their owner is going to keep. First of all, their owner is going to keep the band together.
Yes.
Okay. They went out and got Clint Capella for a reason.
Yeah, they signed him.
It's been evident.
Yeah, he's been really good.
Okay, so they're going to keep that band together. They put those pieces together for a reason.
Yes, the Atlanta, they'll be factors for a while.
Yeah.
So that's the East. The West, the Clippers are alive. People wanting to hang them out to dry. Kawhi. I'm not a Kawhi guy. I've been saying it from the beginning. He's not my guy, but he's still Kawhi Leonard. He's still Paul George.
Luka.
And, let's see what happens tonight. Game 7. This is where it's at. Luka. I'm not a Luka guy. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit last week. I kind of dropped I'm not a Luka guy bomb.
I'm not a Kawhi Leonard guy because I'm very, very angry and jealous that he didn't come to Miami.
I'm glad.
Okay, I'm bitter that he didn't come to Miami.
I'm glad he didn't come to Miami. Come on.
No, Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler.
I'm done with the names.
Butler, listen.
The one time we'd get to go to a game.
Butler, Leonard, that's the favorite in the East. If that's the big 3. That's a new favorite in the East next year if that happens. Kawhi comes to Miami all day. All day with Oladipo coming back in the middle of the season because they do have an option to exercise on his contract.
Let me ask you a question.
They can keep him cheaply.
Just remove the names from what we're talking about, and let me just paint a scenario. Would you be excited about having a guy come to your team that it was his 3rd stop in 4 years? Just on its merit. Don't worry about who the names are. Wouldn't you at least start to raise questions? You'd be like, well, why is this his 13 in 4 years? I mean, what happened before? Were there problems in the locker room? Were there issues with playing time? Stop me when
he's a head
this
case.
Sounds familiar.
He's a head case.
Is he a leader on the team ever?
He's a millennial head case.
Okay, so I'm giving you all these different reasons to not be excited about anybody. Again, let's not mention his name yet.
The top 10 talented player in the league.
Let's not mention his name yet. Okay, I'm just giving you all these different obstacles and problems that are clear, that are a part of who this X identity person is, and we don't know who it is yet. And then
player X.
You flip the card, and you're like, oh, it's okay, it's Kawhi Leonard. Oh, he won a title in Toronto. Oh, he was with the Spurs, and he was this and he was that. So then you basically take all the facts and you turn them and you turn it into fiction because his name is Kawhi Leonard. And I'm not on Kawhi Leonard's fact and fiction
The name
page.
recognition.
Yeah, I just don't. You have to look through that. And again, this is not saying that Kawhi isn't the top 10 player in the NBA. But I will say this, that he was brought to the Clippers for a reason. Okay, he was brought to that team with at that time
To win championships.
Doc Rivers. Okay, they brought a system in place that if you can't win under Doc Rivers, you're probably not going to win anywhere because he's the guru, other than maybe when Pat Riley was coaching. But those two guys in particular have the ability to take those kinds of players and get the most out of them. So if Doc couldn't do it at this point, after coming off a successful run in Toronto, which I bet you if you really looked at their success, how much of it would you really say it was Kawhi? Was Kawhi the reason why that they got to the finals and won? He was a part of it, but he wasn't the answer, okay? So they had other great players too.
Lowry, Siakam.
A lot of them. So, and a great coach, okay? So they had
Nurse.
pieces in place too. So my point about Kawhi is before you break the bank, before you try and reinvent the wheel in Miami, which we always talk about, the importance of culture, locker room, behavior, buying into the system. Where exactly does that person, before you flip the card and see his name on it, where does he fit into Miami's culture based upon his history?
Too true.
He doesn't. Not for me. So I'm out on Kawhi. Now, a guy like Bradley Beal, that card's the same, front or back.
Right.
Okay. Give me Kawhi.
I'll take Beal all day.
Give me Beal all day long.
Give me Beal and Lowry.
Or and that's another guy, Kyle Lowry. Got the same card, front or back.
All day,
Okay?
every day.
So
All day.
I don't have to worry
Twice on
about
Sunday.
stuff. Don't have to worry about that stuff.
Right, and listen, here's the thing that I am most confident about when it comes to the Miami Heat. Okay, they know who the culture guys are. They know the guys who will fit into the culture. Okay, I mean, for crying out loud, the culture was established way before LeBron. The culture was established way before Dwayne Wade came. Okay, in 2003, 2004, Dwayne Wade came, okay, as a kid, as a baby. The culture was established way before, during the Mourning era, the Hardaway era, okay? The culture was established. They are well aware of players that will fit that culture. Now, if Kawhi will fit that culture, he will be in Miami. It's as simple as that.
He'll have to pass
as much
tests.
As we speculate.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
There are tests that he has to pass.
I had no idea Jimmy Butler would be a part of that culture. If you would have asked me the year before when Jimmy Butler was still in Philadelphia, causing all kinds of madness with his mouth, and if you told me that Jimmy Butler, I was very hesitant when Jimmy Butler came aboard. But Jimmy Butler came aboard, bought in.
I was also
and
skeptical.
added to the culture.
I was also skeptical because of the issues which go. So yes, listen. Here's what I'm saying: if Kawhi crosses the line and becomes a Miami Heat, then you have to assume Riley, Spoelstra, they've done their homework. They've gotten to Kawhi. They're on the same page. That I would have to agree with because I have faith in their system. But I will say this: would you admit that it's getting more and more difficult to hit on trades, on players, on personalities, for many reasons, not even just the individuals, but just
because of the culture?
A culture and a lot of different things, whatever the reasons are. Just overall, it's harder for players to become successful in life and in sports. I'm going to say it's slightly harder overall just because of the factors and the culture and all this other stuff that's been going on. That being said, the Heat have missed recently. They missed on Whiteside. Hero is now a huge question mark because of some of the personality issues that he's been showing.
By the way, we've seen Whiteside in the Pompano Beach area recently.
We have, and again, so as good as the Miami Heat have been in their system and their culture,
they're not perfect.
There are swings and misses.
Yeah, they're not perfect.
And I just feel like that would be closer to a miss in terms of overall expectations.
Look
now,
at Caron Butler. Great player.
If Kawhi came here and he only averaged 20 points and 6 and 6, and they only got to the finals 1 year, I mean, again, in 3 years you're gonna look back at that and say it's a failure. No, it's not a failure, but you didn't get to where you ultimately wanted to go.
But Jimmy Butler is an unmitigated success.
I agree with that.
He has helped us pick up the pieces.
But the Heat need a true scorer. They need and not a shooter, a creator.
Damian Lillard.
Oh, that would be a godsend.
Listen, things. Let me tell you what.
The best player in basketball.
The planets are aligning right now.
Yeah.
The planets are aligning for a sign and trade of Damian Lillard to Miami. They're
listen.
aligning. The coach has been fired in Portland. Okay. Players have been now in the press. Players have kind of been, they're pretty good. They haven't developed the way we want it. You have guys like Kendrick Nunn, and you have guys like Robinson, who are probably going to be leaving via free agency because they're going to be too expensive. Although I would try to keep Duncan Robinson. I would really try to keep him.
Yeah, I would.
I would pay him. You'd pay the man, but
we're going to see some Heat games if Lillard is a Heat next year.
That's
would be.
It's coming.
All right, listen,
It's
I
coming.
hope you're right.
Even if you have to trade Tyler Hero,
Done.
Done. If he's got to be part of the trade package,
Done.
I
said
mean, we don't have a first round draft choice until like 2027.
39.
Yeah, but still
Done. Get Dame
mean,
here. Yeah.
A
Start with
backcourt-
Damon Butler and Adebayo, and
that big three.
we'll figure it out from there.
Bananas.
Yeah, we'll figure it out from there.
Bananas.
Yeah. So
You really wouldn't have a lot of wiggle room. Not with Butler, who has got a max extension coming up, and they're going to give him a max extension. We've already extended Adebayo. Young man's getting paid, and then we take on Lillard. Then we're going to have to go get a whole bunch of old guys.
Listen,
but hey,
they'll figure it out.
old guys, draft choices.
Figure it out. I'm stretching my calves a lot lately. I'll take a few shots.
Sure. Warm me up, put me in, coach. I can do 2 minutes. 2 minutes at the end of the first quarter. Of course, they're going to need CPR after I come off the court.
You should just stay on one side, though. Don't worry about crossing. Just hang in there.
Just
be in the paint. 3 seconds.
I'll
get
stumble
out.
up to the center line and backpedal.
Get out. Yeah.
Just get in the way. So there's a lot of craziness coming up with a speculation like that. But here's a crazy speculation. The only reason why I would want to see the LA Clippers make it to the NBA Finals
So they can lose?
is so they could lose to the Philadelphia 76ers.
I feel like got to get there first.
I understand that. But for them to lose to the Philadelphia 76ers, I love coach revenge. I love coach's revenge. I love when a coach comes back on a team.
Be a great
and just
narrative.
goes,
You imagine?
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
That's kind of like your theory about Sam Darnold. About Sam Darnold and Adam Gase.
Ooh, we'll get to that.
I'm gonna jump to
we're
the
there.
NFL right now. Just jump in and get
Here's
it.
a question for you. Who does not want Sam Darnold to win comeback player of the year next year? I know. Adam Gase. Why? Because the last quarterback that left him won that award the previous year.
I know. Ryan Tannehill.
Yes. I don't think
My
there'd be
boy.
a coach in history that had 2 players leave him in consecutive years. Oh, actually, I think it's every other year. And then win comeback player of the year once they leave him. That's terrible. When are we going to stop picking on Adam Gase? Or are we ever going to stop picking on Adam Gase?
Has he gotten a job? I think he got a head coaching job with the USFL, who's coming back in 2022 or something like that, didn't
Really?
he? I don't know. Is he like a quarterback offensive consultant,
I haven't
quality
heard
control
anything.
specialist?
I haven't heard anything at all. Nothing.
All right, listen. The guy he's qualified. He's good. He's a professional coach. He has qualifications.
Sure he does.
He has had success in the league.
Where?
But his time in Miami and his time in New York have kind of painted him as a head case. You know who else had a similar problem? A guy who Miami got rid of as an offensive coordinator. Actually, he retired again. Chan Gailey.
Yeah,
Chan Gailey had the same problem.
But Chan Gailey's about 40 years older than Adam Gase.
Right.
So
Norv Turner had the same problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Limited success. I mean, Norv took a couple of teams to the playoffs, but all in all, it always fell apart because of that personality, because of that confidence in their intelligence, and you just stay a coordinator.
yeah, some guys are just better left to be on a specific duty job, and there's nothing wrong with it. Coordinators make a ton of money in the NFL, and are very successful.
And they leave the relationships with the other positions other than quarterback. They relieve the relationships to the other position coaches.
Yes.
They leave the offensive line to the offensive line coaches.
Yes.
They leave the running backs to the running back coaches and wide receivers and tight ends and so on and so forth. So the offensive coordinator, even though he will have an offensive meeting with everybody on the offense in the meeting, he does the bulk of his work with the quarterback coach and the quarterback. Period. End. Point. Done. Norv Turner and Troy Aikman. Bing. Biggest example I can give is Norv Turner and Troy Aikman.
100%.
100%. So some guys are just not meant to be head coaches. Period. Sorry.
I agree.
Okay, I'm glad for Norv Turner. He made a whole lot of money being a head coach. The 3 times that he had a shot at it.
Yeah.
Because when you move from coordinator to head coach, especially in the era that he moved from coordinator to head coach, owners realized that they don't have a salary cap for head coaches, so they could bid crazy money and pay guys crazy money. Coming off an offensive coordinator that led a top 5 offense to the Super Bowl, they won a Super Bowl, and now they grab that coordinator.
You know how you fix all that?
And what?
You include the coach's salary in your team cap.
Oh.
Therefore,
you can't
you
salary
have
cap
to
the coaches.
shop
You can't.
your coaches.
You can't do that. No, you can't do
that.
that.
Would
You
create
can't do that.
such a need for good, smart young coaches.
Why are you trying to control rich people? Don't want to have their spending controlled. If they want to spend money, they're going to spend money.
Well, there's a salary cap for the athletes.
Look at Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones admitted that he let Dak Prescott get in his pocket, and he was happy to do it. Now, you know me, I think the Jones family is...
They've always spent on their players, though. They've never really held back.
Listen, the Jones family...
That's the irony of this whole Dak
The Jones family are those guys that showed up at the big high-dollar fantasy football league meeting draft, won the first couple of years that they did it, okay, and then everybody else caught up. And they haven't won crap since. They haven't been to the playoffs since.
In a quarter century.
Right, in a quarter century.
Yeah.
But they still talk smack. And they still, they still pick a kicker in the 6th round and go, championship.
They're still the number one grossing revenue
Sure.
sports team in this world.
Make all your money like that, pal, because you know what? You're not going to do
incredible.
it getting Super Bowl rings.
No, that's not happening anytime soon.
Simple.
But
okay.
that's the whole quarterback thing we said about paying for quarterbacks. You cannot pay great money to a good player, especially when that great amount of money is such a weight on the rest of your team, because you can't pay the rest of the guys what they deserve. To get talent, that's going to overcompensate for what you're paying this guy too much for. Doesn't work. Rookie deals. That's where the Chiefs were successful. That's where teams that have won in the last several years, the quarterbacks are not making a ton of money.
Do you like the restraint I've shown about not gushing over Tua Tagovailoa yet?
Listen, I've read your gush.
I'm on the Tua train,
and I understand it. But again, I don't want to crush you with my numbers.
But you're a box checker, right?
Yes,
all the boxes are checked.
I haven't seen any boxes checked other than physical. From what you're telling me, he's worked out. He had a trainer. He paid money to get somebody to make him look good. You got to throw the football. You got to be able to read defenses. Yeah, that hasn't happened yet. So as much as he looks the part. Right. Okay, compared to where he didn't look the part before, you have to play the part too.
Okay.
And Pro Football Focus has him ranked 32nd in football.
And how often have they been wrong? A lot.
Let's have them wrong by 15 spots.
Yeah,
he's still average.
17th.
He's still average. Okay.
Okay.
Now, this isn't a knock on Tua, but I'm just saying, just back off the pedal a little bit when it comes to the excitement. Now, can they win with Tua at 17?
Super Bowl.
Yes. They could perhaps even get as far as that because they're that good.
Pro Bowl.
They have talent. They've got a great defense and a great coach.
Shock the world.
So, and by the way, I think they'll win the division this year. How about that?
Hey, now you're a crazy man.
No.
Sure. Why not?
No. Why? Because everybody's going to be catching up to the quarterback in Buffalo who's so good. All of a sudden last year became the best thing since sliced bread until they exposed him too. All of a sudden he's completing 70% of his passes. What? So he found that much greater accuracy in 1 year?
He has trouble when you double his security blanket, when you double Diggs, and you not even neutralize him if you slow him down, because that's what Kansas City did. They just slowed Diggs down. That's all.
What
Diggs
happened?
Still got his.
What happened to Lamar Jackson year 2 after the splash?
Oh yeah.
You still got to be able to do the other things quarterbacks do.
The league catches up.
Well, you have to be able to have yourself a complete player as that quarterback. It's the most important position on the field.
Sure.
So you got to be able to not just run, you got to be able to throw first.
Yeah.
Running is next.
Yeah.
Throwing is first.
Oh, yeah.
And he's one of those design run calls away from not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
So if you're building an offense and a team success
Just
on a
ask
quarterback,
Dak.
not happening. So I think they catch up, and I think a team like the Dolphins, who already have a really good defense, that have seen him and will see him 2 more times, will be better prepared and will be more competitive against the Bills this year than they were last year. So again, that's too early for discussions about division winners, but I like the Dolphins this year, and I like Tua and the Dolphins, even though you think he's Joe Montana, he's not yet. They can win with him not being Joe Montana.
The kid has been a winner at every level that he has played.
Okay, well, this is the most important level, and he hasn't won here yet. So we'll see what happens once he gets in the position to lead the Dolphins this year.
As we segue out of the NFL and we're talking about quarterbacks and how they are the most important position on any given NFL team, I would be remiss to forget to mention that there's been issues with players having mental health problems, both in the sport of tennis, which is an individual sport. But one of the reasons why quarterbacks are so highly paid and so highly touted is because they have the pressure of the team. The only people that have a higher pressure rating on them are the coaches. The coaches, the owners, the general managers, they all share the same pressure with the quarterback, and the quarterback has to, talk to the press. They have to deal with those pressures. They are the face of the franchise.
They take and accept
place.
the responsibility, failures or successes. That's their role. That's part of their job too as a quarterback.
So,
you're given the keys to an organization when you're given that title as a starting quarterback.
Right.
You're the most important position on the field. That's why they use, synonymous terms like field general.
Right.
And all this, because again, what do you?
And leadership being important.
Of course, because you have to be able to do all those things extremely well. Not just throw the football. So, you're the liaison between ownership and the players and players and staff and players and media and play. So, yes, 100%.
Well, that's the one thing that I truly do like about Tua is that he is a mentally and emotionally stable and strong kid. So, I have a lot of faith in him. I am totally on the Tua train. So there you go. We'll close that out real quick. And thank you for being on the Tua train too.
I like the kid. Listen, I said the Dolphins should draft him. Remember? I was pro early on. So and that was because a lot of the players, former players, current players, teammates, all said those same things. All said he was a great leader, smart kid,
60% healthy,
very athletic. Can thread the needle, all this other stuff. So the kid's good.
We're gonna see.
It's the reason why he's there.
We're gonna see. The rest of you keep sleeping. All right. So moving on. Wait, I got a list. Okay, moving on. Let's segue to the big fight. Let's touch on the big fight. Logan Paul versus some guy named Floyd Mayweather, Money Mayweather.
Some old guy, middleweight, had a decent career.
Old guy who's made a couple of dollars. I think his middle name is Money, or his nickname is Money.
Has he ever knocked anybody out though?
Has he? I don't know. Has he? I'm sure he's got a couple of knockouts,
4 or 5 maybe.
But this Logan Paul kid. In the weigh-in, he was looking jacked.
He's taking this pretty serious.
He looked like he was dead serious.
Yeah.
Said that he was gonna punish the old man.
I'll be honest. I don't know much about this fight. I'm aware of it taking place. I'm not going to watch it. I'm at work, so maybe it'll be on. But whatever. My point is this: is that I don't have to, because I saw what you're talking about, the weigh-in, and I heard some of the comments post prior. Mayweather was like, hat sideways, shades on. I think he had a cigar in his mouth. I'm not sure. He looked pretty chill.
He looked a little soft, he had a little belly on him.
Mr. Paul, on the other hand, was sweating, was jacked, was ready, had that mean Rocky face. It looked like he was ready to go.
Mayweather had a Popeyes spicy chicken sandwich in one hand.
Not sure. So maybe Mayweather gets popped in the mouth in the first round and realizes this kid's for real and I better take this serious. Or his plan is just to go in and dodge like he did as a fighter. He was quick and
Yeah, listen, we all know with blood sports, if you will, with combat sports, all it takes one punch, one kick, whether it's MMA, whether it's boxing, whatever.
You get lucky.
One punch, a lucky punch or whatever. Okay, all it takes is one punch. But this is probably one of the greatest defensive boxers in the history of the game.
Are they boxing, or
Yes,
is
they're
it
boxing.
straight up boxing?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So he can't roundhouse
the
him?
Paul brothers won't go MMA. The Paul brothers won't go.
Well, no. Well, with him, he's not MMA either. But
Right.
I wasn't sure of like, is it strict boxing rules?
Strictly boxing.
All right. Okay. Well,
Otherwise, his brother would go up against Conor McGregor.
that's why
And
I
McGregor
feel
would kill
like
him.
that's why I feel like Mayweather's probably taking this a little bit not too serious because he knows I'm the greatest of all time, at least
Right.
in his mind. And who's this other guy on YouTube? He's not going
Right.
to be able to outbox me, outsmart me.
It's about money.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
about money. It's
I
about
don't
making
know.
money.
I
His
don't
middle
care.
name. Listen, his nickname is Money.
All right.
He's out to
Good.
make money.
Well-
I think he's going to take the boy to school.
Then let him take the boy to
I think
school.
it's going to be a clinic.
I think we're done with that.
But we could be sitting here tomorrow looking at the TV going, he did what?
Oh, somebody didn't have to tell me what happened unless I stumble on it. So.
Right. Okay. So there. We've spent our 3 minutes on the big fight.
Yes, it is a
a
big fight.
real boxer against a YouTube boxer. The kid might be in great shape. He might be taking it seriously. But you know what? If I were fighting Floyd Mayweather, I'd take it seriously too. Okay, why? Because I'm getting paid 7 figures. I take anything seriously. I'm getting paid 7 figures.
Yes.
Lose 200 pounds if I paid 7 figures. Okay, so I do have a price. So skipping right along, let's go to the Major League Baseball.
Yes,
I believe you're familiar with Major League Baseball,
I
correct?
watched a few games.
A few games here and there.
Yeah, there's a leader in the clubhouse right now, by the way. He's in the American League. He's a junior. His father had an amazing career. First in average, first in home runs, Vlad Jr.
One of my favorite players, his dad is one of my favorite players of all time.
Yeah, me too. So Vlad's in the
That
clubhouse
guy was
right now.
nuts.
American League average in home runs, kid's really good. He's 22, so I'm sure he'll get better.
Listen, you know I'm a Marlins fan, and I watched one of the games that played against the Blue Jays in Buffalo. And when I tell you that every time that a pitcher tries to get cute with this kid, the same way with his old man, he's got the same eye as old man does. Okay, and and I forget. I think it was Blyer was the middle reliever that got cute and decided he was going to start him off with a letter high fastball coming at 95 miles an hour, and he flat smoked the ball.
Yeah.
The exit velocity had to be in the 120s. He destroyed that pitch for a 2-run shot. And I'm just sitting here like, you know, he knew it. Everybody knew it. The pitcher knew it. It was like,
Yeah, he's pretty good. He can hit the ball.
he's got that sweet swing like his daddy.
Yeah. So Tampa went on a stretch where they won like 30 games in a row. They're in first. Yankees are playing better now. They're back above 500. We said they would be. They'd right the ship. They've got some talent.
Analytics baseball is all of a sudden back in the,
Yeah.
look at the Cubs.
Yeah.
Analytics baseball.
Things are starting to shake out a little bit now in baseball. Like I said, the Rays are for real. Somehow every year they don't spend, they don't have to. If the names weren't on the back of the jerseys, you wouldn't know who they were.
Nope.
Honestly. I mean, unless you're really into the sport. So, congrats
May
to
as
them.
well just put their stats on their jerseys.
Year after year. Listen, the Red Sox haven't fallen off either. They're still playing well, and they were not expected to be anywhere near the top of the
Once
division.
again, sabermetrics.
They're playing really well, too. So baseball's up and running. They're exciting. Dodgers are starting to win, too. We're only 60 games
Although
in.
Kershaw got smoked by the Braves yesterday.
He did.
I hate the Braves so much.
His BVP against some of those guys isn't good. So that's an interesting matchup if it comes down to it in the playoffs.
Oh,
where
they got to him.
Some of
They
those
got to
guys
him
can get to him a
hardcore.
little bit. Yeah. So
Yeah, they got. And the Marlins are mired in the middle of an 8-game losing streak. They found a very creative way to lose yesterday.
yes.
And
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm indignant. Listen, during this 8-game losing streak, at least 3 of those games were winnable. Okay, I mean they got smoked 9-2 day before yesterday. They got smoked against the Blue Jays once, but they found a way to lose a tight game against the Blue Jays. They wasted a Trevor Rogers start yesterday. Rogers was sterling through 7.
He's been good all year.
Okay. So
here's the thing about them. We talked about their pitching being good, and it has been really good. Starting pitching especially.
But now that
good
bullpen
too.
has been faltering lately.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, the
Chinks in the armor.
Good things come to an end. It's been a lot of pressure on. They're a young team still. I still really like their pitching staff.
The injury bug has been ridiculous.
It's been a problem for them. But it's still an issue for them to manufacture runs.
Well, they've been getting guys back. They got Starling Marte back. They got Lewis Brinson back. They're getting guys back, but now they're getting guys back, and now starting pitchers are taking the dive. Now.
Yeah.
I mean,
even in some
ridiculous.
of the names you mentioned, still, I mean, Lewis Brinson, okay. Yeah, they need some help on the offensive side. So, listen, their pitching is going to be fine. Overall, they've got a great young staff. Their top 3 starters, man, if they can stay in their rotation for some years to come, they're going to be really
but Poteet
good.
and Hernandez, the bottom of their rotation is now on the IL.
Listen, I'm not talking about this
So-
year. They're not going anywhere this year. They're already 7 games under 500, 8 games under,
It's
so
just
they're
frustrating.
done.
I'm bitter.
It's hard, but listen, I want them to compete. I want the pitching to stay competitive and be good, and them to be in a position where they know who they are, and then when it's time in the offseason to either develop some more talent offensively or go spend, which apparently this is what their plan has been. This is what, year 4 now for Jeter?
Right.
So, when are the coffers going to be...
They got a new naming rights contract.
So
they got all kinds of money from Lone Depot Park.
Yeah, let's see if we can turn this around into some players.
Yeah, and that's going to happen next year.
So we'll see.
Because not only are they going to have liquid capital, a little bit of liquid capital to spend because of the revenue rights for the naming rights and everything, because that's big money. That's good dollars. But they also have a lot of prospect capital. They have a lot of minor league capital that they can make some trades, some creative trades.
No
for.
question. The Marlins are in a good
next
position.
year is the move year.
We'll see. We'll see. And if it works, I mean, they got to be able to decide in a direction.
Woo-hoo, playoffs,
and then
World Series.
Make it
Woo-hoo.
work. So, but yeah, Marlins are done this year. But it's still good. Listen, the Giants, that's a team that is not done. That team is still in first place in the West.
Duct tape and baling wire.
No, they're pretty good. They're a pretty good team. They
That's
can
more
pitch a little bit
sabermetrics,
too.
I'll tell you that right now.
They can play too. So, and their farm system, from being one of the worst over the last several years, is not anymore. They were supposed to be contending a year from now, 2 years from now. So
Right.
they
spent 3 years being terrible, though.
they're way ahead of the curve right now.
And how about Buster Posey?
Well, here's the thing. He's playing first base most of the games.
Right.
And that's why he's been hitting the crap out of the ball.
Right.
Because
get him out from behind the plate. He was a great catcher, but
he's had a long
Get
career.
that bat fired up.
So, and he's been hitting the ball. So, yeah, so they're playing really well. They're hitting the ball. They got 2 guys at the top of the lineup, Talkman and Yastrzemski, 2 lefties that create matchup problems.
Yastrzemski's hurt now, though.
But I'm saying this is where their successes lie. So yeah, and Brandon Crawford is like, all the guys,
55-year-old Brandon Crawford.
Listen, Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford, all these guys that they were looking to get rid of next year and finally get them off the books, they're all hitting the crap out of the ball. So the Giants are a good story right now. That's a great ballpark too. I was able to see a game there.
I still want to go.
Oh, it's amazing.
I want to have sushi.
It's really nice.
I
You
wanna
walk
have
along the
sushi
beach essentially
at a baseball game
to get to the park that's basically at the beach, and it's a really nice place. So
It's built on a
good
landfill.
food. Yeah, it's really nice. Not a big fan of San Francisco, but the park is nice. So anyway, that's baseball.
All right.
That's baseball.
So yes, that's baseball. Wow. So we've managed to rip through everything, and that brings us to a new segment. New segment alert.
Do we have music for this new segment?
No, we don't have to. I'm going to make graphics.
You want me to
and
sing?
No.
Dance?
No.
A hum?
I will create an introduction for it, and it will be obnoxious and it will be cartoonish.
I like it. Well, if you
and
don't
it'll
like
be
it, we won't do it
ridiculous.
again. So there's no reason to
Right.
create one now.
It'll be something like
So we'll give it a shot.
let's welcome you to the very first edition of Mazz Hysteria. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to run down a list of topics, mostly sports topics or sports-related topics, which is part of the reason why we did what we did during the live video intro that we started at 10:30, is because we had stuff that we wanted to talk about, whether it be the mystique of women has been the bubble has been burst on that. Women poop, women fart, women play
Crapping
sports.
everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
All over there.
Bleeding
Cranky
tampons
pated.
on the floor.
Cranky pated. Are you
Yeah.
cranky pated?
Women's stuff everywhere.
Cartoon women pooping on TV. That's all I got to tell you. With the feet underneath the stall and the turning and it's, oh my God.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's a lot.
So Mazz Hysteria. We're going to get into it here with Mazz. First of all, are you cranky-pated? Are you feeling regular? Are you good?
I am a little gassy, but I'll try and keep it in.
That's what I smell.
Now, but before we start, let me tell you what my effort and my goal is going to be through this. Is I'm going to try and, because I like to talk, clearly. I like to
Clearly.
And if I get upset about something or something kind of gets me the wrong way, you're going to have to cut me off. So my goal is to try and keep
cut thing right here, pal.
to try and keep these under maybe 60 or 90 seconds.
Cut his mic.
So I will do my best. I'm not going to go into these great elaborate details of pain, which I sometimes do, but I will give you my kind of quick, short analysis, opinion.
Should you be wearing a bow tie like your boy Tucker Carlson? Is that what we're going to get you a bow tie?
Why are you
for
picking
this.
on Tucker? All right, let's go. Let's
Somebody get you a big sequenced bow tie.
I'm ready.
American flag bow tie.
Number one.
All right, number one. Hey, wait. I'm the director of this segment.
Sorry.
Okay, number one. Is LeBron no longer in the conversation for the greatest of all time, for the GOAT?
Okay.
Is LeBron James no longer the GOAT?
Here's the angle. What people are saying is he got knocked out in the first round. It didn't go good for LeBron in this postseason. Certainly, the end of the regular season, he looked to be human. Okay,
right.
Now we know AD is maybe less than human because he can't stay on the court.
Undefeated.
Right, and it's happening now. But I will say this: obviously, GOAT discussion is him versus MJ. Now, people probably have forgotten, or they've chosen to have forgotten, when Michael was walking away from the game the second or third time, it wasn't pretty. Okay, it was a disaster in Washington.
Right. Well, that's the comparison. Is this Michael Jordan in Washington? Because that team never even got a sniff of the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't.
They finished one game under 500 one year, and then like 4 games under 500 the next.
My eyes are telling me LeBron can still play. Okay, and at an extremely high level. Okay,
right.
Now there's going to be some limitations, maybe minute restrictions, maybe the aforementioned Kawhi, he takes a few nights off here or there, load management, whatever it is. They're going to have to not only manage LeBron better, they're not only going to have to figure out a way to get AD on the court, but they're going to have to bring somebody in. So we talked about Beal, we talked about other players that are out there. It's going to have to be a max guy that can create. Okay, that can create for himself and can make the younger guys, the other guys besides LeBron and AD better.
Kuzma and Caruso ain't
not happening. So again, GOAT. Listen, LeBron's still in the discussion, if not the discussion. MJ ended poorly. Everybody forgot. It didn't affect him one bit. This will go down the same way. And LeBron still potentially has success ahead of him. So it's too soon to levy that sort of idea.
Number 2, are you tired of seeing stars call out their teams, a la Aaron Rodgers, J.J. Watt? Now Damian Lillard is calling out his team. Yesterday, they just fired their longtime head coach.
I think that was a sign, don't you think? Dame, we're hearing you, buddy. We understand that you've given us more than everything you've got for so long. We understand that. Oh, by the way, did you know that his team is the only team currently, they have the longest playoff streak in the NBA.
Yeah.
Now they've also been bounced for the last 5 times in the first series
years in a row.
But yeah, it's really good. He's really good. He deserves better around him, and the team's responsibility is to make that happen.
Come to Miami.
So Aaron Rodgers, same thing. Guy's giving it all. It's left on the field. They drafted a quarterback. What does he do? He goes out and wins the MVP. So these guys. I'm pro player, and if a player has given his service and has done it to an extremely high level, like all these guys we mentioned have, then they're entitled to an opinion.
Aaron Rodgers, go to Las Vegas.
I never would want to hold anybody back when I was in business, when I helped with my dad run his company. You always want to have good relationships with your employees, and if they're not happy and if their situations present themselves,
about it.
But if a situation presents itself where that person can better themselves or their family or whatever, you don't get in their way. You're happy for that person. So move on, boys.
Okay. Number 3. Well, we're just cooking right along here.
Let's do it.
And this one could be really quick because this is something that we've talked about a few times. Okay. In the disagreement between Major League Baseball and the city of Atlanta or the state of Georgia over their voters, their supposed voter suppression, voter rules, between the city of Atlanta and Major League Baseball, who moved the All-Star game. Who you got? Whose side are you on in this fight?
Taking the politics out of it, which I'm going to do, which few people can do these days, because
Which is
you're
hard
forced
to do about money.
Well, because you're forced to choose a side. I'm this, I'm that. I'm a part of this group, part of that group. I'm on Team Atlanta, just because it was already in stone. Okay,
right.
They already had people in place. They were already planning, businesses, vendors, everybody that's responsible to Major League Baseball,
right?
To help get this going, and then obviously see it through to present themselves from the city's perspective and also from the team. Mm-hmm. And then, because people that are totally unrelated to the circumstances involved, a voting law gets written and interpreted, whether you interpret this or interpret that. I see green, you see blue. It was taken from them. Okay. Now, the guys that are in the fight, the vendors, the players, the city, whatever, the fans, they don't have a stake in that particular fight.
Regardless of their affiliation.
None at all. They want to see baseball, and that's what they were told they're going to do, and then they're taken. That's taken from them. So from that perspective alone, it's a legal battle. There's a $100 million lawsuit in place right now from the city of Atlanta. So we'll see. And for me, it's Team Atlanta. Team Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball, you pay. All right. Number 4. Oh, this is a good one.
Oh, boy.
So, a former Olympic world champion, formerly a man, now a woman, running for governor of California. There's a lot to unpack there.
There's a ton.
And
it's hard to go quick, but let's go quick.
I mean, because this relates to an issue about transgender athletes legally petitioning to play with a given individual sex, whether it be males or females. And that's been shot down, not only on the judicial level, but also on the state levels.
Well, first of all, just on that alone, I don't think there's a person on the planet that can better answer that question, because that person has done everything in that box.
Right.
He's been the successful athlete. He's been the man, now a woman. He's dealt with the pressures on both sides. He's lived both lives.
Right.
So nobody can better answer, in my opinion, that question of should transgender athletes be able to play in those particular sports. If you're born a woman and yet you decide to become a man, can you then compete back with women again? And she has come out and said, no, it's not the right way to go about it. From the athlete's perspective, and we've talked about this prior to the show, us being athletes at one point in our life many years ago.
I guess.
When I got to the field, I never wanted to win that game in any other way other than because I beat the opponent. And I didn't want the opponent to look at me and say,
cheated.
They beat me because I cheated, or I had an advantage, or I did this, or I did that, or I'm a man instead of a woman, or whatever the reasons
the glare
are.
off your head blinded me.
You know, when I played semi-professional softball, whatever that is, there were guys that looked for edges. We shaved bats. We would do something. I never got involved with those
Drink
things.
light beer.
And the reasons why was because, again, I didn't want to, because, again, even if nobody found out, I would know that I wasn't doing it the right way. So from the athlete's perspective, it's already the first step that these athletes are taking is not the right step. So I'm against it. But the more importantly, the governor of California part, he is going to flip that state upside down. I keep saying
if she wins.
If she wins.
He.
I'm sorry. If she wins, she's going to flip that state upside down.
Well,
because she goes against a lot of what mainstream Hollywood represents out there in California, and
right.
even a lot of what mainstream people think about certain ideas and I don't know, just customs, I guess, of the West Coast and of California.
Listen, first of all, I think the big issue is that it's the same as with Bruce Jenner / Kylie Jenner or whatever. What Caitlyn Jenner?
Caitlyn. Yeah.
It is a former man who is now female that wants to compete with females. Not a former female who is now male that wants to compete with the males. I mean, we had that situation with Renee Richards in tennis back in the 70s. And I guess fortunately or unfortunately, Renee Richards wasn't that great of a tennis player to begin with. So she got smoked by whatever straight and or lesbian athletes that were a part of the tennis tour at the time. But there was lawsuits, there was legal battles, there was harumphing, all in the news. But for me, once again, big ally. Love my LGBTQ, RSTUV people. Love them. Live and let live. Do what you want.
Agree.
But for me,
stay in your lane.
If you want to compete as a person who has gone transgender, if you want to compete in a sport, instead of causing this hullabaloo, I know you want to do it because you want equality, you want normalcy. I understand that. Totally understand that. But if you really, really want to compete in a sport, if you're a man now and you used to be a woman, or a woman now and you used to be a man, both sides of the equation, they take hormones. They have surgeries. They have procedures. Why don't you all play in your own league? The women who became men, the men who became women, play your own league. Play in your own league.
If you're going to become something,
whatever sport it is, baseball, basketball, tennis, whatever it is, play your own trans league.
100%. Whatever you identify as, whatever you've become, however the terminologies are that define you, you're now defined as such, whether it's woman or as man.
I'm ready for the hate email. I really am.
Then you that's the lane you drive in.
Yeah.
You drive in the women's lane, or you drive in the men's lane.
Yeah.
Because that's who you are now. You can't go back and go, well, I'm just a man for this, but I want to be a woman for this. Or I'm just a woman for this, but I really want to be a man for this. It doesn't work like
Jenner,
that.
listen, Caitlyn Jenner is what, 70 years old, 69 years old, something like that?
Late 60s,
Late
maybe?
60s, early 70s?
Yeah.
Would she enter the Senior Olympics as a man or a woman? Would she compete against women or men in the Senior Olympics?
She'd have to go in as a man.
She would fairly compete against the men.
Yeah, you would think.
Because she is Bruce Nee Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
Still 6'1", 185 pounds, still runs, still plays golf.
Well,
still plays tennis, still an athletic person.
There are anatomical differences that make us who we are. Fast twitch fibers, slow twitch fibers. Muscle development.
And in spite of the fact that you use hormonal therapies and surgical procedures to change those with regard to a gender that you would like to be, that you feel that you are.
I'm going to substitute, I don't mean to interrupt because you're excited, but I'm going to substitute the word change and make it enhance.
Enhance.
Because that becomes an unfair advantage then.
Yeah.
Because any enhancements in any sort of sport are usually through steroids, through drug use, through whatever. Those are enhancements, okay? And those are negative enhancements. This is another example of that. So it's not a change, it's an enhancement.
All right.
Sorry.
Now, in closing, our final Mazz Hysteria thing, because we're spending too much time middle-aged mansplaining this situation. Okay, we're too much time middle-aged mansplaining this.
There is.
I can just imagine what the chat room is going to look like with the 4 people on YouTube right now. It's like, we're just trying to be nice, and we're trying to make for a solution.
Yeah, fairness. That's all.
Yeah, it's all we're trying to.
Yeah,
keep it fair. Keep it fair.
Fairness. It's fairness.
All right.
Nothing else.
Number 5, our final. Really big, fast, strong girl throws a football 60 yards and then goes and pees in a urinal. Walks up next to you and pees in a urinal.
Yeah, I think we just kind of touched on it, but here's my example. My daughter's volleyball game, if I see a girl on the other side of the court and she's got a mustache, there's a problem, okay? We covered it. We know.
She got a tougher mustache than me.
Yeah, it's listen, first of all, unfortunately, these incidents are happening at the youth level mostly.
Right.
And that's the most important time for development, for teaching, for understanding, for growing. Again, messages are being sent certainly in the wrong way with a lot of these things. And then you come down to fairness in sports. Right. And we've beat it up to death. It's not fair to have somebody on the other side who was born stronger, faster, considerably, not just within the own genre or whatever gene pool of women, of men, and obviously we know the differences between them too. That's why they're different. One plays here, one plays there. It's when you start going like this.
Yeah.
It's a problem. So
stay
on your side of the
agree.
tracks. Yeah.
I mean, listen, in the WNBA, there are a few WNBA stars that people actually speculate as to what their gender really is, or maybe they may be a little bit closer to the hermaphroditic spectrum. I mean, Brittany Griner being the chief amongst those, because she has a deep voice. She has a voice as deep as ours, yours or mine.
Right.
And she's an exceptional athlete, and she has I would say, almost a masculine body frame.
Now, I will say this.
But she's a woman.
Exactly. Just because she may look more physical or more, I don't know, manly.
I have no interest in looking at her junk to check and see if she's got something down there.
But even
I'm going to take your word for it. You're a woman. You were born female.
But listen, even look at men. There are men that are built like Dwayne Johnson, and there are men that are born and they're built like whatever, a little scrawny guy you see walking in Publix. There's differences between men in terms of how we're built and what our designs are. So certainly women are going to be no different. Food's here.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess, right?
So basically, I don't have my gun, so.
Well,
We stabbed in the eye with your coffee cup?
that's probably a delivery.
Yeah. So anyway, let the girls be girls, let the boys be boys, and let them play separately. That's how this works.
All right, then. Aliens?
Oh, man.
Okay, you talk about June 1st. I'm going to go see who's at the door.
We just passed up on June 1st. It's past us.
No, it's June 6th.
I know. There's a lot of
By the
stuff.
way, D-Day.
Yes. It is D-Day. Aliens. They're here. They're coming, or they're here. I don't know. June 1st, all the documents got put out, or at least a lot of the stuff got put out, made public. So certainly you can get on the internet and you can search. It just seems as though now it's so mainstream that no matter what the news network you're watching, Fox or CNN or whatever, there's a story about aliens. There's a story about the Navy and conversations with pilots. This is in the forefront. It's in our public eye more so now. You're not a quack when you start to talk about the stuff that we're talking about now. People start to listen. They have to.
They have to.
It's becoming part of the framework of what we're listening to. And certainly, if anything at all gets proven or shown or whatever, or even disproven, at least we can pick a side and go, okay, they're not there, or they're certainly here.
People can no longer scoff at us Star Trek nerds.
No.
Because guess what?
Nanu? How about him?
Nanu, yes.
He could be here already, so... Yeah,
that makes sense, especially the few people I know.
Yeah, I'm watching Skinwalker Ranch, which is kind of interesting. Here's the thing, though. When you watch these sorts of shows, they do glamorize, they do over-accentuate certain things. You kind of have to read through that. It's drama, it's TV, it's got to be like that. The music and the sounds and whatever. But if you do a little reading on the ranch itself, like real reading, the history, the previous owner, it's pretty amazing, a lot of the stuff that's gone down there on that ranch. So it's interesting. There's a lot of places on our earth that seem to have certain powers, certain meanings in certain ways, whether they're astrological based or metaphysical, or there's whatever. And it's super cool. So we're learning stuff every day, and it's exciting.
It comes down to hubris. What kind of ego do we have as a species to think that out of all the teeming billions of stars and planets in the universe that we're just starting to see and figure out, okay, that we would think that we are the only intelligent, sentient life in the universe? I mean, we are literally that tribe of cavemen. We got fire. We built a wagon with wheels. We domesticated animals. But we're still in our little corner behind the big mountains over there because nobody's got the cojones to go over the big mountain. We don't know what's on the other side of the big mountain. We know the water's over here where we get fish.
Yeah,
okay?
I understand.
But we're afraid to go over the big mountain.
Yeah, if you're born and you live your whole life in one town,
right,
and that's all you know, you think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
And your town is it.
Yeah, and that's all you
and
know.
We are it.
That's your scope.
We are the world.
Yeah, that's all you see. But then when you cross this bridge and you get on the other side and you look back and you're like, wait a second. this is different over here. This
Right.
isn't what I'm used to.
Right.
Better or worse, we don't know. But this is not the same.
Right.
So,
but you and Og and Mongo and everybody, you're all, you all have the same color hair, same color skin. And then all of a sudden, a guy comes over the mountain with blonde hair and blue eyes and pale skin. Is he a demon? Is he, he's different? What kind of hubris so on a universal level, once again, I have to point out what kind of crazy egotistical hubris we have to think that we are the only intelligent, sentient life in the universe.
I agree, sir.
Insane. All right. I win all arguments. And I think that's it. We've run out of steam.
We crushed it.
We're done. We crushed it. And good job on the new segment.
I thought we did pretty well with that. Yeah,
You did pretty all right.
Yeah.
And your beard game is definitely better than mine because I'm
serious.
I am turning snowy and yours is still brown. I hate you. You disgust me.
You're not seeing all this in the middle.
Yeah, I know. That's still it's browner than mine.
That's not sugar.
I'm gonna have to actually use some stuff
That ain't
on
sugar.
mine because I am turning into the old man, the grizzled old man. But good job for the beard game, by the way. That's it. We're going to wrap things up here because I'm starting to get hungry and it is lunchtime. And got big games coming up today in basketball.
Afternoon
We
games.
got, Atlanta, Philly,
Yeah.
L.A. and Dallas. Doubleheader today. Going to get a little bit of that business out the way.
Atlanta wins and the Clippers win.
Boo! I'll go the other way with both of them. I'll bet you coffee next week. All right. Well, so on behalf of myself and the Mazz, whom you can see at MLB Joy Us on the Instagrams, and because he just can't seem to get the hang of any other platform. What is wrong with you? I don't know.
Too much for me.
Well, say goodbye to the nice people.
See you later.
We'll see you guys next week at 11 a.m. Don't forget to check out Gonzo Radio on every platform. Just type in Gonzo Radio, and you're going to get all of us. Gonzo Radio Sports Desk, the Gonzo Radio Show, the whole network. That's us. So on behalf of myself and Mazz, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys again next week, 11 a.m. sharp. Bye.
Peace.